Dion, the word depression is another one of those words that we actually throw around, and we diagnose people on our own because we think we know the signs of depression.
Yeah.
What do you understand as depression?
I think the biggest risk of depression is the fact that people diagnose themselves and they say, I am depressed. Now, the moment I say something like, I am depressed, well, I am a male, which means from the day I was born up until the day I die, I'm going to be a male. It's a life sentence, if I can. It's a permanent state. The moment someone says, I am depressed, they give themselves permission to be in a permanent state. And that's where the risk comes in. There's a wonderful old story. It says, if I have two wolves, and the one wolf lives in the shade, and the one wolf lives in the sunshine, which wolf will grow the largest?
Oh, I would say sunshine, but am I right?
The answer is the one I feed the most.
Oh.
Now, every human being has got depression and a great happy state. Which one will you have the most of? The one lives in the sunshine, the other one lives in the shade. The answer is the one you feed the most. The moment we diagnose ourselves or others and say, I am depressed, we are feeding the depressive state. It sounds very strong, but if we linger in that state the whole time, we feed it and we give it permission to exist. Now, here's an interesting concept. How do people actually know that they are depressed?
Yeah. What makes them think they're depressed? Yeah.
The only way people can know that they are depressed is they need to understand the opposite of depression. The human brain functions in duality. We only understand up by understanding down. We only understand left by understanding right. We only understand depression by understanding joy. So, is depression present in humans? Well, do you understand joy? Then you also understand depression, which means for you to understand depression, you must be able to experience.
So it's the opposite feeling of another feeling.
Of another feeling. And
a lesser feeling of another feeling.
we have both. Every human being experiences both.
I would imagine every day you feel
Every
something.
day, in a couple of 20 minutes time frame, you can experience both. It's not the fact that you experience them where the problem lies. It's how much energy do you give it.
And what impact it's having on your life. So those who think they are depressed, or those who have diagnosed themselves, what are the dangers that they are creating for themselves in their lives?
The danger of depression or being diagnosed is by not diagnosing it accurately. So I've got a different definition. I say the risk is not depression because depression is a temporary state that can be altered. With joy, anything that makes you happy can shift your depressive state in that second. But there's a higher risk, and that's a term that's not used often enough. There's a different state that I call the lack of hope state. So if you look at around the world, if you look at our youth, for example, our youth look at people that have got degrees, high qualifications, but they can't find any jobs, they're living in poverty. What that does is that removes hope. Hope is not aspiring or having a dream or a desire that something can happen in the future, tomorrow or in an hour's time. That's a very negative state. So a lot of people that have a lack of hope define themselves as depressed. So they're not fixing the hope. They're trying to fix the temporary emotional state instead of fixing where they are looking to the future.
So what does that say then about all the therapists, the psychologists, the psychiatrists out there who are diagnosing depression and giving people treatment, medication, ways to cope?
Our world has never been in a worse mental health state than what it is in at the moment. And all the fields that you've just mentioned are supposed to be the gatekeepers of humanity's mental state. So my question is, has the traditional mechanisms that they've been using over the last 20, 30 years, has the whole Darwinian process theories, has it worked? Has it served us as a humanity? Or do we possibly need a different approach? Do we need to look at the definitions we've given you, all these states, and possibly start thinking differently? Because if what has been given us has worked, so many people would not be in negative states at the moment.
So you don't agree with the traditional sort of diagnoses
I don't.
of depression?
I don't believe in any kind of a mental health diagnosis that could give someone permission to linger in a state any longer.
And what about those who believe that this is something that's chemical in the body?
It is chemical because our bodies are chemical, but nobody's body is at a chemical stable state all of the time. So when you go into a very happy state, your brain and your body starts producing chemicals to bring you back into balance. When you go into a very negative state, your body starts producing chemicals to take you back into balance. We are always in a fluctuating chemical state. If you look at people that are happy, that's laughing, that's really excited, people go, ha, 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 ha. Nobody goes, ha, ha, it stays up in that state the whole time. But for some reason, we say that happens with depression. No, it doesn't. It's an emotional state. That's all it is, and it's fluctuating. Learn to control it, learn the awareness of it. I would much rather teach people that are depressed how to be happier.
Okay, first tell me about the
try and heal
awareness of it. So tell me about the awareness of it. How will I be aware of it? What am I experiencing?
Well, what am I feeling right at the moment? A higher level of awareness means I'm aware of how I feel at any given time. So how do I know when I'm happy? Well, we do know when we're happy because we can say it. How do I know when I'm depressed? Well, we do know we're depressed because we can say it. So there is a certain level of awareness. Practicing awareness of self teaches the brain and the individual practicing it to control it better. Because now I can recognize it sooner, but I can also recognize the opposite.
And it takes a certain amount of honesty with yourself, though. You've got to be honest about how you're feeling. So if you've got to face.
I think authentic is probably a stronger word.
Yeah.
It's giving yourself permission to be human, giving yourself permission to be happy, giving yourself permission to be depressed or sad, to be positive, to be negative, and choosing which ones of those states you actually want the most.
So you say you'd rather teach people how to be happy. You're a neuro-linguistic practitioner, yes? That is what you do. Among other things, yes.
Among other things,
you do a lot of things, but that is what you do. So how would you teach me to actually get myself out of those states? I'm going to fall into them. I'm human. And it might happen every day. It might happen every week. I don't know. Once a month. Tell me how
Very simple, short answer, because obviously, I'd love 7 hours.
Yeah, but I can't have a therapy session here, yeah.
But let's give it in a minute. I used to race motorbikes as a hobby. And my racing coach once said to me, because I wanted to go through a certain corner at a high speed, and I wanted to get my knee as close to the tar as possible. And I couldn't get it right, because every time I went into the corner, fear kicked in and I pulled the bike up. So I asked him, what am I doing wrong? And he gave me a very simple answer. He said, you will always go where you look. When I look down at the tar, that's where I would go. So fear kicks in and then I pull back. But if I looked 3-4 meters into the bend, I would take the motorbike into that space beautifully, perfectly, every single time. In life, the same rule applies. We will go where we look. Are you looking at what's wrong in your life? Or are you looking at what's possible and what's fantastic in your life? Your emotions, your chemicals will follow where you look. So how do you break the habit of being depressed? Develop an attitude of gratitude. Realize the great, beautiful things. Learn to be able to look at a flower and really appreciate the petals.
I mean, if somebody is in the deeper state of this at this point, where would you what would be the first step you would tell them?
Look out, find something that's beautiful. I've had many cases, and my favorite thing is I let people watch, because where I stay in my offices, I look over a beautiful green belt, and there's beautiful trees. I tell them, find me one tree that's beautiful, just one. Fix your eyes on the tree that's beautiful and appreciate the beauty of it. Find one. That's all you need to do. Because the moment I find one single thing that's beautiful, I'm eradicating everything that's not. I only need a little bit of light to remove a huge amount of darkness. I need a small amount of positive thoughts to remove a huge amount of negative ones.
And we can't depend on other people. We have to do that for ourselves, right?
you're the only person that can look and find something that's beautiful for you, because the tree that's beautiful for you is not necessarily the one that I would choose. And there's a huge amount of things that's beautiful, that's justifiably there, that we can be grateful for. We can look at your own feet, look at your hands, look at yourself in the mirror, look at anything in your environment, and find things that are beautiful, worth appreciating and being grateful for. And that's the secret, is really realizing, where are we looking? Am I looking at what's going to bring me depression, or am I looking at what's going to bring me joy and happiness in my life? Where am I looking?
And I must say, when you spoke about that tree, I kind of pictured it. There's no tree in front of me, but it did actually give me a very nice tingly feeling. I think we'll try that.
Momentarily, it gave you the
Yeah,
positive.
in
That's
my
all you need.
imagination. That's
Yeah.
all we need. That's it. Thanks very much, Dion.
And a pleasure.